This is the same situation, or same kind of 500, and
alleged impropriety on
we need badly to beef up the law enforcement section of the Tax Commission, or perhaps create another agency, or maybe even use private sources to collect these undue taxes. And if we could do that, we could solve a lot of the financial problem we have.
Work crews were still at it along the Little River today. They were removing what's left of a good-sized oil spill. A pipe broke near this area Wednesday night. About 5,000 gallons of oil dumped into the Little River in a matter of hours. What's left amounts to about 3 barrels of oil, and officials supervising the job say that won't be hard to clean up.
It's looking very good. Very good. They're doing a very good job. And under the conditions that they're working, it's amazing that they've accomplished as much as they have.
Cleaning up this mess hasn't been easy. Barricades are placed at the head of the spill to prevent any oil flow downstream. The oil is then sprayed to a corner where it is removed from the water with suction devices and then hauled away in tanker trucks. Many of these men have been working this spill almost around the clock. It looks like they will be finished early next week.
Right now we've got the biggest part of it picked up. It'll take a couple more days to wash the banks down and get it cleaned up. But everything's pretty well under control.
There were some early concerns the spill may have caused pollution problems downstream, but a look at the waters below the spill today show no signs of oil. That's good news for the people in this area who worried the spill would enter and contaminate their water supply. Marty Griffin, News 4.
The water was unleashed from the dams at a depth and velocity that assured many of the towns and cities downstream would be underwater. The usually timid Arkansas navigational channel was turned into a menacing river, destroying or damaging almost everything in its path.
We have talked to these people before, Senator Nichols, and you know where we got? Nowhere.
Today, dozens of flood victims showed up at Senator Nichols' hearing to point the finger. Many contend the gates could have been opened after the first wave of flooding. And they say had that water been released earlier and in smaller quantities, the catastrophic flooding in Bartlesville could have been averted. But the colonel on the hot seat during all the rains told the crowd a second storm was headed to Tulsa. That storm never arrived, but it was the reason the Corps waited.
If we had been making releases, number one, we would be compounding the already troubled, flooded areas into Bixby areas, all right? Secondly, if Hurricane Payne had tracked over the Tulsa area and we were making these releases, we would have compounded the problem below the dam.
But that answer didn't cut it for many of these people. Some want restitution, others resignations.
Our people in Bartlesville, half of them can't even they're mad at the court because they won't even be polite to them when they call in. As one lady said, why can't we fire all of them, from the telephone operator to the colonel?
I don't want loans from the government. I want the government to pay for the damages that they caused down the river. Were rendered totally worthless.
Aspect of this question in particular won't stand, and that'll depend on what happens in the next few days.
This cannot happen. The complainant is not. It is the opinion of this court that the loans in this case.
What we're going to see now, if this is allowed to stand, is a few powerful and rich individuals come in and put tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of money in campaigns at the last minute. Nobody's going to know about it. You're going to have nominations purchased, you're going to have elections purchased, and you're going to have literally no effective campaign contribution limits in Oklahoma. It's extraordinarily dangerous.
Go in here. I want every one of these.
Mike Gassaway's tax problem surfaced 6 months ago when prosecutors filed state income tax charges against him. State and federal prosecutors alleged the well-known defense attorney failed to file his 1981, 82, and 83 income tax returns on time. After months of negotiations, Gassaway pled guilty to misdemeanor state and federal tax law violations. Gassaway's defense attorney sought probation for his client in federal court. The defense lawyer cited a study which reportedly showed that other tax law violators were put on probation for similar crimes, saying it is important for the criminal justice system to reflect respect for the law. A federal magistrate today ordered Gassaway to spend 6 months in a federal prison.
All I know is that it's been done, and I've got to live with that, and I will live with it, however it turns out. But you'll see me back here in this courthouse practicing law and fighting for people again. You watch and see.
The sentence will show that even Mike Gassaway is not above the law and that he has to obey the tax laws like everyone else.
Gassaway said he doesn't know how the prison term will affect his current candidacy for Oklahoma County District Attorney. Mike Gassaway is scheduled to begin serving his 6-month prison sentence after the first of the year. Federal officials say that with good behavior, Gassaway should be back on the streets by next May. Scott Wallace, News 4 at the Federal Courthouse.
The auto theft operation has been based in the Oklahoma City area, but investigators say that many of the stolen vehicles are eventually sold in Texas. In August, an Oklahoma man was convicted in Midland, Texas, on 8 counts of interstate transportation of stolen property. His name is Bernie Ray Bryant, Jr., known to friends and lawmen as Butch. Another man linked to the stolen vehicles in Midland was 27-year-old Rick Bolin. Bolin agreed to testify for the authorities in March of '85. Bolin disappeared suddenly in August of that year. He was later found shot to death in a rural area of Payne County. No one has ever been charged in the murder. Authorities say the auto theft operation is loosely organized, based mainly in Oklahoma, Pottawatomie, and Seminole counties. Most commonly, stolen cars are brought to remote areas, to what are called chop shops. This building in Pottawatomie County was allegedly used as a chop shop by one of the ring's members. Chop shops open and close sporadically, mainly when the authorities get too close. What goes on at these shops looks much like this. This film was taken of an illegal operation in Chicago. Here, identification numbers are taken from salvaged, unusable cars and switched with cars in good condition. The result, a car that appears to have a clean title, which the thieves can sell for a tidy profit.
It's not confined to Pottawatomie County. It's not confined to Oklahoma County or Cleveland or Lincoln or Seminole or whatever county. A lot of our stolen vehicles may be coming out of Texas. The salvage titles or salvage vehicle that they're going to do the switch with may come out of Missouri or Texas or even somewhere here in Oklahoma.
Indictments are already being handed down in the auto theft investigation. Last week, 2 men were indicted on 13 counts each for altering vehicle IDs. One of the men still has not been tracked down.
Mary Mathis moved into this house 1 year ago today. She's just about a mile from Forest Park, 2 miles from Oklahoma City, and 3.5 from Midwest City. But Mary's house doesn't fall in any city or township. She's located in rural Oklahoma County, or at least she was until Forest Park annexed her neighborhood. Mary and her neighbors call it a land grab, and they say they want no part of Forest Park.
Forest Park can't offer us any services that we need. We're self-sufficient unto ourselves. They're going to raise the taxes, and I don't think that I know they can't give us anything we don't already have.
While the township annexed several blocks of land, the mayor admits this parcel is the most important. The land southeast of the corner of 50th and Bryant is now Forest Park. And it just so happens this road will be one of the main entrances to Remington Downs.
You have nothing to give us?
Newly annexed residents at tonight's town meeting didn't seem to care how much revenue the commercial property could generate for Forest Park. They don't want their land to be part of the township, and they don't like the way the trustees acquired it.
We've got our own water, we've got our own sewage systems, we can burn our trash, we can dump our unburnables. I just don't know of any reason why we need Forest Park. And I don't really know of any reason why Forest Park needs us.
Mighty ironic to me that you could get a list of the assessments and what it's going to cost us out there to be a resident, but you couldn't get it to us on the annexation. I didn't hear anything about it till I run across a friend that had read it in a Midwest City paper.
Training that they got in the military, in some cases, could be as important as a college education when the companies here need them, and they won't be in the supervisory capability, but they will be just working as the different jobs needed by the company.
It was formed approximately 2 years ago. Right now we have the eastern region, and this area will fall under to the central region to be formed.
Like some dinner?
I see my mom. That's my son.
Like that.
Thanks for coming by. I thought it was right at the beginning, so I'm not.
See you there. We'll get them.
I'm on my way. We'll do it.
He is the person that said all issues are secondary, that the only issue in this race is personal finances. And if that's the basis on which we've got to talk, well, then that was the basis of my challenge.
Some of the finest horses in America are in Oklahoma City tonight. The third annual Paint Horse Championship is underway at the fairgrounds, and 400 paints are here to compete. The championship will include a variety of events from barrel racing to pole bending. The competition ends Wednesday night. Peter Mays, News 4 Nightcast.
It gives them an opportunity to have an income. They do have an earning capacity this way that they wouldn't have any other. So yes, it's our understanding that they, the individual, the handicap benefits, as well as industrial gasket.
Don Hoover, our press secretary, will review the
about 30 documents involving various transactions of federal loans outstanding. That he was, quote, trying to get in shape to run for governor, so we would have the...
don't purport to understand all the transactions. I think it raises some questions that ought to be answered and that should be answered in a full disclosure.
On it every month, and there's nothing here that isn't in the public record, nothing that I have any desire to conceal, nothing that's in any way irregular. The two questions that I got was, what cosigners do these loans have? And the answer is no cosigners except my wife.
I was up to my ass in water for 6 days.
I can understand that hobo stay, you know, our place where hobos just hang out. We have had some drawings of the tattoos that are on his body that we are trying to get out to the public so that hopefully someone may recognize them and be able to provide us with an identity on the subject. We have not been able to identify him as of yet.
Can I count on you? Well, you know, in recent years, some of our biggest corporations
naturally, that it is more difficult because he is spending the night, and you have to have more officers involved because it's over a 24-hour period type. But other than that, it's just more manpower, basically. That's all.
319. Go ahead. What's your location?
Thousands of people lined up to see the president, along with several hundred protesters. Each one a security risk, each one a potential danger to Ronald Reagan. And all the president's men are everywhere to make sure the man in the White House leaves the Lloyd Noble Center untouched. Helicopters in the air, bomb-sniffing dogs, and sheriff's deputies on horseback provide a network of security checkpoints. And that's just outside. At the front door, metal detectors are set up, and everyone and everything is searched. On the floor of the arena, where the crowd is the heaviest, the Secret Service has set up a security wall. Everywhere you turn, there's a man with an earpiece, listening and watching. When the president arrives, he arrives with Senator Don Nichols and his wife, apparently alone, but not unwatched. In all, several hundred armed men from 14 different law enforcement agencies make sure the president is safe. It almost sounds like security overkill, but it's not.
In a situation such as this, really, you can't provide too much security. All of the angles have to be covered. All of the possibilities have to be covered. And of course, the Secret Service agents are always prepared for anything.
And preparing for anything costs money. In fact, keeping the president safe for a day like this runs about $20,000. But each time the president leaves another event unscathed, few would argue that the $20,000 wasn't money well spent. Marty Griffin, News 4.
We don't run across this type of a crime every day here in Oklahoma City. As a matter of fact, this is the first one of this particular type that I've ever seen.
Southern Nazarene University. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen this on TV or not, but there's a lot of squirrel and stuff like that. You'll notice on here the actual ordinance itself. Well, because the deer out there just couldn't stand a hunt like this at this time. There's just not enough there, from what we can tell. And also, you have a lot of people in that area that are walking through there every day on nature hikes, jogging, things like that. A lot of those people live in this area that go over there. And that's why we're in this area today. We're opposed to the idea. We're opposed to both. They passed.
State employees, we really have more of a loose federation of raises are geared to cost of living. It's not an unusual target to look for. Has a one paragraph. I think the state merit system that we have now is unfair to taxpayers and it's unfair to state employees. And what we want to do is to develop a system that's much fairer to both. We need a merit system that rewards productive employees and allows the state to get rid of dead wood, and that's our ultimate goal in this proposal. With that, I'll answer.
on the staff that would handle relations with the legislature, with the press, keep those ongoing relations going. But from that one detail, that goes against the grain of how I think the office should be run. I think it ought to be out there telling it. I hope that the taxpayers see here's another area where tax money is being wasted. It's being wasted in an office that is supposed to be looking for waste. You know, this is an amount of money that would hire one auditor, pay salary and fringe benefits for one auditor.
I'm George Tomick. Wynnewood's police chief and 2 former officers could face a grand jury investigation. The Garvin County District Court is studying a petition calling for a probe into possible wrongdoing by the law officers. 500 people signed the petition after an incident in June where the police chief formed a police department that worked out of his home after 4 of his officers were fired for refusing to give rides to city dispatchers.
In any industry or any business, you get all kinds of stories, Terry. That's just normal. There has not been a number determined. As of today, we have had 2 part-time positions laid off. We did that last week, and we have also notified 2 full-time people that their jobs are being reduced. It's what we're calling a reduction in force.
I'm Yuzi Brown. A 911 emergency system may be just a touch away for the Oklahoma City metro area. The city is now hard at work researching the feasibility of the system. Officials estimate it would cost around $2 million to get the system off the ground. For residents, that translates into an increase of 60 cents or less on their monthly phone bill. The matter would have to be approved by voters before it's installed.
I think eventually they'll
try to get out a little bit too early because he was still standing outside when I tried to get out the car. And that's how come I got shot behind that.
The rains of early October. They turned many Oklahoma communities into waterways. Well, the water is gone. Now it's time to clean up and rebuild. But getting things back to normal will cost an awful lot of money. Money that most Oklahoma counties just don't have.
Private nonprofit utility districts are also eligible.
Officials from 16 Oklahoma counties came to Oklahoma City today to find out just what they are eligible for. And it looks pretty good. The federal government will pay 75% of the money needed to rebuild flood-damaged public properties. And that's good news for folks like Ron Saxon. He's Chickashaw's vice mayor.
We're looking at probably close to $1 million damage to the public facilities.
Would you be able to repair that without this federal help?
No, we wouldn't. Be real tough.
The assistance program is not without its problems. The floodwaters that turned Grady and 26 other Oklahoma counties into disaster areas also swept away their cash reserves. And now counties have to pay up front and get reimbursed from the Fed later. That could force many counties to go without aid altogether. And understaffed agencies have to handle a state full of flood-related problems.
The biggest one we've had prior to this was 1983. We had 15 counties involved. We have 27 counties involved in this. We had 58 applicants on that one. We're going to have over 200 on this one. We'll have over 5,000 probably individual projects.
Disaster checks are expected from the Fed in the next few months. It's money that will put many communities left high and dry by the rains of October back on their feet again. Marty Griffin, News 4.